Hello all, and welcome to our mini lecture for chapter 6, which is anti-bias curriculum, and chapter 14, which is the development of personal bias. This week, I'm going to try and make it a shorter mini lecture due to your observations. So you have a little bit extra work this week, so I'm going to try and keep this nice and short. So let's go ahead and get started on our discussion on anti-bias curriculum and the development of personal bias. I wanted to start off with a quote which states, "Children are born into this world without prejudice." I don't know why I can't say this word, prejudice, but can learn prejudice as easily as the alphabet or tying their shoes. Getting to children as early as possible is important when you want to instill them with positive images of themselves and others. And this quote is by Abraham Foxman. And while it is important to educate adults about bias and discrimination, raising children who will be anti-bias is an essential step towards achieving real change in our society. Incorporating anti-bias curriculum in early childhood education provides children with a foundation to fight for social justice later in their lives. I'm going to begin with chapter 14 today. And as always, we have our objectives, which are little paths to guide you through your learning. Our first objective is list characteristics of implicit bias. Our second objective is discuss and mitigate the effects of stereotypes. And our third objective is to investigate ways to uncover the stereotypes that we hold and apply practices that will reduce discrimination with children and families. Implicit bias is a form of bias that occurs automatically and unintentionally, that nevertheless affects judgment, decisions, and behaviors. Research has shown implicit bias can pose a barrier to recruiting and retaining diversity. Implicit biases are pervasive. Everyone possesses them. Everyone is born with them, and they actually helped us survive and help us survive. Implicit and explicit biases are related but distinct mental constructs. They are not mutually exclusive and may even reinforce each other. The implicit associations we hold do not necessarily align with our declared beliefs or even reflect stances we would explicitly endorse. We generally hold implicit biases that favor our own in-groups. The research has shown that we can still hold implicit biases against our own in-group, and our in-group is the group of people that we closely associate ourselves with. Implicit biases are malleable. Our brains are incredibly complex, and the implicit associations that we have formed can be gradually unlearned through a variety of debiasing techniques. Next week, you will have the opportunity to learn more about your own implicit biases and prejudices. Prejudices by taking the implicit association test, which is a test done by Harvard or created by Harvard that kind of just lets you know a little bit more about your own implicit biases. It's really cool, and I'm really excited for next week. Traditionally, a stereotype has been defined as an overgeneralized attributes associated with the members of a social group, such as the reserved English or like a geeky engineer, with the implication that it applies to all members of the group. Stereotyping others is simply unfair. Although in some cases, the stereotypes that are used to make judgments might actually be true of the individual being judged, in many other cases, it's not true. Stereotypes may even become self-fulfilling prophecies, which is known as a stereotype threat, such as our expectations about the group members, such that our expectations about those group members make the stereotypes come true. So those stereotypes about certain group members are internalized by those group members into self-fulfilling prophecy. Once we believe that men make better leaders than women, we tend to behave towards men in a way that makes it easier for them to lead. And we behave in a way towards women that makes it more difficult for women to lead. The result, I mean, men find it easier to excel in leadership positions, whereas women have to work hard to overcome the false beliefs about their lack of leadership abilities. Even teachers' expectations about their students' academic abilities can influence the students' school performance. There are a number of techniques that we can use to try to improve our attitudes toward outgroups, groups that we do not closely associate ourselves with. And at least some of them have been found to be effective. A number of studies have found that we become less prejudiced when we are exposed to and think about group members who have particularly positive or non-stereotypical characteristics. So, how can you combat your own personal implicit biases and stereotypes? One way is through education. Enrolling in courses such as this one has been shown to make us less prejudiced. Another way you can reduce biases and stereotypes is by creating closer connections with members of different groups. It is theorized that if children from different ethnic groups play together in school, their attitudes towards each other should improve. Finally, by reflecting on your own biases and stereotypes and being mindful of them, you can reduce your actions that may be unconsciously rooted in bias or stereotypes. And one way to reflect on your own biases and stereotypes is by taking that implicit association test we're going to do next week. Woohoo! So moving on to chapter 6, again, these are objectives, they're paths to guide your learning. Our first objective is to define anti-bias approach, anti-bias approach, analyze the importance of reflecting children's culture in your approach to guiding their behavior, and identify social justice issues in early childhood development. The anti-bias approach urges educators to be aware of biases that perpetuate oppression and create an inequitable environment and to eliminate them. The anti-bias approach is intended to teach children about acceptance, tolerance, and respect, and to critically analyze what they are taught, and to recognize the connections between ethnicity, gender, religion, social class, power and privilege, prestige, and opportunity. Anti-bias curriculum also embraces differences and uniqueness. There is no such thing as colorblindness. We need to accept and acknowledge differences and just not believe that they are beautiful, but know that they are beautiful and different and unique. And that is something that should be celebrated. Through raising cultural awareness, teaching to children's various learning styles, welcoming family and community involvement, supporting and valuing every child, and understanding the value and need for play, educators such as yourself and myself can teach children to respect and value diversity. However, the educator must first respect and value diversity themselves. That is a wrap for this mini lecture. We all have biases that are a part of our life experiences and worldview. If we become aware of our hidden and even unrecognized biases, we can monitor and attempt to amend these hidden attitudes before they are expressed through behavior and affect our actions. That is all. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, want to chat, want to set up an appointment, you can email me, you can message me on Canvas inbox. I'm here to support you. And just a gentle reminder that assignments from weeks 1 through 8 are due the Sunday of week 9, which is April 9th. I hope you have a fabulous week, and I will see you all next week. Of course. Okay. All right. Now this is my official goodbye. Bye.